Mr. Emilio Sparks.
What am I holding?
That's a new microphone.
There's a production value to this.
Does it feel good? It's lightweight, right?
Yeah.
It sounds good too. You like that? Does it feel good in your hand?
This is nice and light. I feel like Wayne Newton on the stage in Vegas.
Dun-dun. That's not Wayne Newton. That's Jones.
It's Tom Jones.
But still, same
How
vibe.
you tore your dress.
What a mess. I confess.
That's not old. What a creepy song.
Oh,
by
yeah,
the way.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
listen
yeah.
to the words in that is an omission of guilt.
Welcome to Pop Culture Man Children. PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. Look who's back with me today.
How you doing?
Emilio Sparks.
Hi.
Now, you've been sending him pictures of diarrhea. I don't know if you've gotten them yet. I told the fans that Emilio's sick with horrible diarrhea. Send him pictures of diarrhea to hashtag diarrhea on Twitter. So
Makes sense why Rito was sending me pictures of his stool.
So yeah, I hopefully that made you feel better. How you feeling? Last time I talked to you, you've podcasted through. You like the U.S. Postal, rain, snow, sleet. But last time I talked to you, you were like, I'm dying.
I can't do it. I was so fucked up, man.
What were you sick with?
I had a stomach virus.
Where'd you get it from? You don't eat anything but beets.
I know. When I threw up, it was
your stool is 100% red.
It was
like
nothing
Crayola.
but rice and fucking greens. Like, you had to see my vomit that came up. It was terrible.
Oh my god.
And I couldn't shit.
It was all coming up the wrong way.
I was constipated for like 5-6 days.
It was all coming up the wrong way.
It was shooting up the wrong way. I threw up maybe 72 hours straight.
How many? Like how often in interval?
Oh god, maybe like once every 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, that's absolute nightmare.
I tried to drink some vegetable broth.
Was it that nightmare where like you throw up and it's horrible, but then you feel good for a while, but then the clock starts ticking to the next time,
and then you're achy,
and then you don't want to do it?
I tried to hold it in at one point.
Vomiting.
It's the worst thing ever.
It's a natural thing because we all do it. But it's like not a natural thing because it feels terrible.
I don't like it.
Did you have like the bloodshot eyes from doing it so much?
Yeah.
And like you're just like wringing yourself out?
I was sweating, but I was cold.
You ever have like diarrhea and vomit at the same time?
No.
So you just get into a bathtub and you just sort of let it all out?
You're just laying in a pool of just your own bodily excretion?
Like you're a wet towel being wrung out from the middle? That's never happened to me either.
No.
I just bring that up hypothetically.
I was so... Ugh.
But your beard looks healthy.
Thank
I haven't seen your beard in a while, and it's. I see you've got the. You're going for the Lou Albano rubber band thing going on.
It's gonna happen.
I love it.
Thank you.
You and me are gonna remake the Good Enough for Goonies video in a minute. So speaking of Good Enough for Goonies,
yeah, Josh Brolin.
Oh shit, he is in that movie.
Yes, he is.
All right. Well. Wait, you ready for this segue? Are you fucking ready? So, you know who else is in Goonies?
Who?
Feldman.
Yes.
Corey Feldman, is he?
Yeah.
Please say he is. All right, Corey Feldman hung out a lot with Michael Jackson, and that brings us to...
Wow.
That brings us to today's mini-so topic.
Wow, king of the segues, Mike Bongiorno.
So we're having a lot of fun, and now we're going to segue into something more serious.
Yeah, let's just depress the listener.
All right, so the topic of today's mini-sode is, can you separate the art from the artist? And I got this idea because I watched that Leaving Neverland documentary. If you haven't watched it, folks, it's 4 hours long. It's 2 episodes, each is 2 hours, and it's about 2 guys who allege to have, with great detail, including like evidence and shit, and voicemails, that they were both abused by Michael Jackson. And one of them is doing really well in
he's a choreographer,
right? Yeah. So he's not doing it for the money. Plus, I don't know, when people say that to me, it's like, doing it for the money. Like, who wants to, like, first of all, who wants to be famous for being a victim as a child? Like, what kind of a scam is that?
Yeah.
Secondly, I mean, anyway, look, we've all known. Look, let's be honest. We all knew back in the 90s what was going on, but I don't know. We swept it under the rug. We were like, Thriller. He made Thriller, as Dave Chappelle said.
Heal the World.
Yeah.
Black and white.
Yeah.
Remember the times.
One of the guys that he was abusing was supposed to, or he probably never was really supposed to be, but Mike told him he would be in the black and white video, and then he got there and Macaulay Culkin was there. And he felt heartbroken because these boys, they got into like real relationships. Anyway, it's a whole sick thing. But the question is, now when I hear Michael Jackson on the radio, I'm like,
yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
And some people go, no, you can separate the art from the artist. And I just, can you? I don't know.
Could you listen to R. Kelly and not
Gotham City?
like realize, oh my God, what am... No, I can't.
Well, with the list goes on. I mean,
yeah, well, there's a lot.
We're in a post-Me Too world.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, it's even, could we watch some movies that
Woody Allen made?
Yeah, it's rough.
For a long time I did. For a long time I was like, I didn't say it openly, but I said to like myself, I don't know, Mia Farrow's crazy. I bet she brainwashed that kid. I think Woody's innocent. But the more I've read and the more I've learned and the more I've grown as a human being, the more I'm like, nah, this guy is guilty of some crazy shit.
Yeah. I think as you get older, you start to realize, well, wait a minute, no, there is some really crazy shit that gets swept under the rug.
Sure.
And
especially in the 90s, we did it. We were, we knew things were bad, but also we were like, I remember being a little kid during the when it first happened with Michael Jackson.
And then he came on national
television. My friend's
television.
mom was crying, and she was like, nah, Mike, never. I don't believe what they say, Mike.
Did you also see when he came on national television?
Yes, I remember that.
And he made this whole he cut this big promo?
Yeah. All right, but here's a question. Getting back to our central question. FX owns all of The Simpsons. Once a year, they play 3 weeks of every episode. And they said, we're going to no longer play the Michael Jackson episode, the famous Lisa, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Lisa.
Yeah.
Now, agree or disagree? Is that a good move? Is that a bad move? Should they do that? Should we be allowed to watch that?
Well, I think because... You got to remember, I think The Simpsons have always been a forwardly progressive woke cartoon before even woke was a term.
Yeah.
And, I think they, one, know their audience.
Sure, yeah.
Two, let's look at who runs, produces, directs, and draws the entire, run of the cartoon. So, yeah, I think, one, to even just stay away from negative press.
Yeah.
Because Twitter would blow up if that continued to go on the air.
Right. The next time it aired, it would blow up.
So
you think it's just a smart business move to not even open themselves up to that?
I think it's a smart business move, but I also think that they know, like, wait a minute, okay. Shit's fucked up in this world.
Right. We don't want to air it, and then people are going to...
let's not throw fuel on the fire and maybe bring up some people's...
But that's also a famous episode, though.
It's a huge episode. You still remember that episode.
Of course. We can, Happy Birthday, Lisa. You remember that. It was touching.
We can poll non-devout Simpsons fans, play that song, and people will know it's probably from The Simpsons. That's how big that was. A casual fan came in because they wanted to hear Michael Jackson's voice on a cartoon.
Yeah.
Because outside of The Wiz, what did Michael Jackson ever do that was on television or a movie?
He wanted... This is a true story. He wanted to play Jar Jar Binks in Star Wars Episode 1 really bad.
Did he really?
And was all up George Lucas's ass, and Lucas was like, nah, man, I can't let you do it. Sorry. But he wanted it so bad.
He just wanted to voice Jar Jar?
He wanted to play Jar Jar. Do it, and then they put the CGI over him.
I think Jar Jar would have
Imagine how worse that... It's been 20 years since that movie came out. It's the anniversary. Imagine how much worse that movie would be.
Maybe it would be better. Maybe it would be better. Maybe Jar Jar would be a better character, but then you can use that to erase that because they would never air it again because Michael Jackson stars as Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. Disney would just scrub it from canon.
But now let me ask you this, though. James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Tweeted some shit.
Yeah.
Many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Back with the franchise. Directing Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Are you turned off to James Gunn?
No. Because he said something stupid. He didn't do anything harmful. And he apologized. And not to sound corny, but if we want to keep apologies as a thing that we do, we have to start accepting some of them. You know what I mean? Look, I'm not a gay person, but I feel similar to the Kevin Hart thing. he said some homophobic, stupid shit, and then he apologized, and he said, here's why I say this. You know, I've been doing comedy since I was a teenager. I definitely said stupid shit. I definitely did, and I would hate to be canceled. I would hate to wake up tomorrow as an adult me and have somebody go, oh, I saw some video you made 15 years ago, and you said something homophobic, or you said something problematic, and you thought you were being edgy, but whatever, you're done. We don't want to work with you anymore. Blah blah blah. I would be like, but I'm not that. I'm not that kid anymore.
The Mike of 18.
I would smack that kid. I'd be like, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
You're not edgy.
No.
Shut up. Stop being a fucking neckbeard.
Do you remember, before we go trail off again? Yeah. Do you remember?
Wow.
You're pedophile.
Right. I was just thinking that. And that's a joke. That starts as you make the name and then you go backwards. Gepedophile. Yeah. It's about if Geppetto were a pedophile. Now, that's definitely unsensitive to people who have been abused, right?
Yeah.
But I was so stupid then.
Yeah.
I would hate for somebody to boycott Pop Culture Man Children because when I was dumb...
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if you murder somebody, right? Like, if you murder somebody, I don't care if 30 years passed, you murdered somebody. But if you said something stupid, especially because comedy back in the early 2000s and 90s was very different. Like we were just talking about on a previous episode of PCMC, 30 Rock, and how even like early episodes of 30 Rock, there's shit that they would never say now.
Well, look what changes too. I guess like the bubble everybody lives in now is way more sensitive to a prick.
And that's good. I mean?
Yes and no.
It's good, but I don't like that it has to go retroactively because I'm a fucking new man. Every day I'm evolved.
We all are. But at the end of the day, sometimes people say, well, the sins of the past have to be resurrected. And then you have to make do for the sins of the past. Now, I don't think... even when we would do our old podcast back in the day, crazy shit was said.
Well, when your first podcast was called Dago Cast,
yeah,
because you're an Italian American, yes. And Dago is not popular. Dago was a slur for Italian Americans,
yes.
But you were owning it, whatever. I think if you did that podcast now, whether you're an Italian American or not,
yeah.
People, especially with Twitter,
of course,
people would be like, "No, you can't say that."
I would change it though too.
You wouldn't, right? You would exactly
because it's not about like naming and branding can always be redone. That's like a veil.
Can it? Because I'd love to change the name of this fucking show, Pop Culture Man Children.
Well, you fucking picked the name of that one, pal. I wanted to go with Man Babies. It would have been easier.
At the time, there was a pilot of Cold Man Babies that I really thought was going to go.
Yeah, well, it didn't. You know what I mean? So, but look what we've done, though. PCMC is an actual thing.
Yeah, it's like KFC.
Yeah, it's like a thing now, you know? But you have to look at, I guess, time and temperament. That's the thing that I think people forget to realize.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when people do something when they're younger, specifically Kevin Hart, and he said it. He was like, yo, I was a young comedian. And, I said these things because that's where the comedy was back then. It doesn't reflect who I am now.
Right.
It's not in my comedy now. It's not in how my everyday life is.
People can change. People can grow. Absolutely, they can.
But the question is this, and I think this is what arises. Do you have to pay for the sins of the past?
Well, look, I don't know.
Like a Roseanne Barr. Right. Does that change the original run of Roseanne to you when you sit down and you watch it on TV?
Well, that's not the sins of the past. That's the sins. Do you apply the sins of the present to the past? Do you say, I can't go back and watch?
But let's be honest, though, too. If you're saying this shit now, you thought it back then.
I don't know. With Roseanne, I mean, especially it was so, I don't know.
See,
I used to show the pilot in my class as I would show an episode. I'd show episode 8 of season 1 of I Love Lucy. Fred and Ethel have a fight. And then I'd show the pilot Roseanne because both are about husbands and wives fighting. Yeah. And one's the 50s, one's the 80s. And the pilot Roseanne is super feminist. It's super progressive. I don't know. Maybe she did have racist ideas then. But the point is I don't show it anymore.
Yeah.
I still think it's good.
You don't show it for what reason? What's the reason that you don't show it? Even though even though you do a gender
Yeah, I've done race, gender, and class in the media.
So now you won't show that pilot, even though it represents everything that you're going to discuss within the feminist movement. You won't show that because of what she said recently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what about the Cosby Show?
Well, no, I couldn't.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. And this might piss other people off, and I don't want to piss off other people that care about film. I've had a hard time. I've dropped Hitchcock from my film syllabus because I used to show Psycho for authorship, if you don't understand French, and
he has a master's, folks. He's a professor. He
sexually harassed Tippi Hedren. And we've known this for a long time.
Oh, it's been public knowledge for years.
Right. And
it's been in books and everything. But he was obsessed with her.
Yeah, but he had power. She didn't. Yeah. He fucked her over in a lot of ways. Totally. And she probably wasn't the only one.
No.
So I show E.T. and we talk about Spielberg's authorship. And I love E.T. But now I'm sure some film professors would say, how could you not show Hitchcock? But I just feel like I can't right now. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind, but I can't.
Does time help? Like the passage of time?
I don't know. Hitchcock's been dead since like the 80s, so I don't know. I feel like
now. Remember when we were going to school, specifically film?
Yeah.
And they would show The Searchers.
Yeah.
Would you show The Searchers now, even knowing that it is a really racist implicated film?
Yeah, I would show that, but I would make the discussion about how Native Americans were represented in Western movies as the stereotype of savages and all that stuff. I would make it about that. See, like if I showed Roseanne, she's not doing anything racist in that episode, so it would be like, okay, this was before this happened. It would be hard to do.
But doesn't the thought come, Roseanne Barr, she said some disparaging,
right, which is why I wouldn't do it.
Vile shit.
Because I'm sure some students would be like, why are we even looking at this?
Now, what about this, though?
But I think it still has value. Now, I still think it was the best. The original Roseanne, I still think is the best sitcom ever.
Now, what about Michael Jordan?
What do you do?
Well, I don't know about this. It's been alleged that Michael Jordan was gambling.
Oh, right. I've heard that.
While playing basketball. And there's been some rumors that he allegedly have betted on himself.
Well, as a non-sports fan,
but I'm not really. I'm a big Jordan guy. I love Jordan, especially in the 90s.
Yeah.
Jordan wore black socks. I started wearing black socks. It was like that.
Very influential on you.
Well, I got a whole closet of Jordan sneakers, man. You know what I mean? But even that, to this day, could have horrible ramifications because the sneakers are made in sweatshops.
Right.
Does that stop me from buying a pair of Jordans?
No, it doesn't.
I mean, I've gifted you a pair.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things. It's like, I guess, maybe you could talk to us on social media about this. There's levels to this shit, as Meek Mill says.
Yeah.
So, all right, sweatshop shoes, $1 an hour.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna rock them.
Yeah.
But then I think once.
But here, let me ask you a question.
What?
Let's say you make the choice. I'm gonna still wear Nikes. Are you then?
Am I under protest to say I just won't wear a specific Nike because I don't know where my shoes are coming from?
No.
Not all shoes are like Tom's.
No, what I'm saying is, is it okay for you to be criticized? Are you, by saying I'm gonna wear these shoes, you're opening yourself up for someone to say that? Are you cool with that?
I'm fine with that, but then also at the same time too, I'm going to look up and down on what the person is wearing.
Well, if you live in America,
let's be honest, everybody's wearing Jordans.
Unless you're making your own clothing, and that's the sad part about living in America. Not to say that you can't do anything, but let me ask you a question though. When it comes to like art, is there anybody that you don't listen to anymore, read anymore? Like, you used to DJ at parties, right? If you did that today, would you spin an R. Kelly tune? Would you spin an MJ?
MJ, yes.
See, I feel
R. Kelly, no.
I feel like MJ, right now, today, the first thing people are going to think about is that.
But here's the issue.
Yeah.
The man is dead. And he's been dead for a long time.
Right.
So he's not here to defend himself.
Yes, but...
And everybody's coming out of the woodwork in his estate, left and right.
Oprah believes he did it, so I believe he did it.
Because of Oprah.
Abso-fucking-lutely. Big O said it happened.
So Big O has that much of a creative license and influence in your life.
When has Oprah ever lied to us?
I mean, do you subscribe to the Oprah Book Club?
I don't think I've ever read any of her.
She gave the world Dr. Phil.
Look, she's made mistakes. But
it also doesn't hurt
I can't listen to
Kanye.
Louis C.K. anymore, by the way. He was my favorite comedian. And objectively, I look at his shows and I think he maybe was the best comedian. And now the best craftsman.
What about Seinfeld allegedly dating underage women?
Well, he married a girl. Like, didn't he get? Wasn't he like 35 dating like a 16-year-old?
From what I heard, she was 18.
I think well, look. Well, I don't fucking like Seinfeld anyway. But anyway, we keep asking the questions. Let's answer some of them. Like,
will I still watch Seinfeld? Yes.
Is there anything you don't watch or do? Is there anything you're like, nah?
Well, I've always disliked him, but now I just fully will never ever support again. Or I'll just try to skip, and it's difficult being a wrestling fan. Hulk Hogan.
Because he got caught using the N-word a lot.
It was just racist. It's not right.
Right.
Like, and it's like,
so how does it, so as a wrestling guy.
Because it's hypocritical. You're supposed to be like, you're saying all this stuff in the 80s. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, treat people with respect, love everybody for who they are.
Right.
And then, like, decades later, you're just saying some filthy, vile, disgusting shit. Like, and only do you give a haphazard apology when your money starts to get affected.
Right.
Like, are you serious?
Do you talk about him on WrestleRap?
If Hulk Hogan does get brought up, it's not my place to tell the person that brings up Hulk Hogan. We're not talking about Hulk Hogan.
Right.
I will say I don't fuck with Hulk Hogan.
Right.
I don't like Hulk Hogan. I never did. I was more of a Randy Savage guy. I was more of a...
But he's... Well, no. Oh, yeah, Randy Savage is okay.
Yeah.
I was the Ultimate Warrior is pretty fucking nuts.
Very nuts. But the thing with Hogan was this.
Mm-hmm.
If you think of professional wrestling, he's definitely on that Mount Rushmore.
Well, it's like Hitchcock in film.
It's rough. It's a
you can't
real,
cut them out.
No, it's a real shade of gray. So you can't rewrite the history without him, but you can choose not to bring it up. Now, if you're talking about Hulk Hogan in the 80s, and we're going to talk about the title lineage of the WWE.
Sure.
And the impact of that championship.
Sure. They're making a movie about Hulk Hogan.
I will not watch it. I will not go to it. Okay. I don't care for it. It's none of my... I have zero desire. Because I also know, and I've watched other interviews where Hulk Hogan would put the kibosh on other professional wrestlers' careers.
Oh, really?
He held down Savage for many, many years. I'm good. I don't want it. So that maybe that is a little extreme.
Yeah.
But it's just like, well, all right, well, you're not the nicest guy. You pretend to be a nice guy. And you said that, I've never held anybody down. But then tons of people came out later on, years later, saying that you held down their careers. And you manipulated and you yielded power to those who actually, like, you would chat in the ear to those who had the power.
Yeah.
So I can't rock with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, and there was but there was also no real genuine apology.
Right. That's an important thing.
Like, at least James Gunn came out and genuinely apologized.
And he didn't make excuses. He said it was a stupid
thing. And then you had...
And I think, by the way, we talked about this a lot on the show at the time, but I think Disney was smart to bring him back.
Huge, but he also nicely parlayed a really good gig with doing Suicide Squad too.
Yeah, and you got Idris Elba replacing Will Smith. Upgrade. Absolute upgrade.
And I guarantee you Batista earned himself a role in Suicide Squad as well.
They're very tight, Batista.
Well, the entire cast rallied around James.
Yeah.
If there was a real issue with that, and they really took offense to that as a cast as a whole, you wouldn't see, that entire cast, I support.
Yeah.
But again, we can even talk about this, though.
Yeah.
What about, Chris Pratt with some of the Hillsong Christian views that he has now as well, talking about homosexuality and religion. Does that change how you view a Chris Pratt movie or even Parks and Rec? Or is he one of those religious fanatics that you just brush to the side because we all think they're kooks?
I kind of probably more that because he definitely belongs to a church that's been known to be homophobic. But
you ever see Hillsong on TV?
No.
They have a TV channel.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah. It's in like the 400s, though.
I kind of just... maybe I'm giving him a pass, but I kind of feel like he is a big dopey idiot. And he just fucking... he said something stupid a few years ago. I forget what it was, but he had the best apology. He was like, I'm not that smart, guys. And I thought, you know what? That's the most honest thing you can fucking say. You are a big dummy.
So I guess it comes down to the level, like to say Meek Mill. Again, there's levels to this shit. So if you have a specific...
How bad your crime was.
How bad the crime is. If you're going to spew some religious rhetoric, right?
Yeah.
Or some idealistic religious trope that maybe not even most of your parishioners will agree with, right? And like you said, on public record, he said, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm kind of like a bumbling oaf. Like you could push past it because I guess there's, and I don't know why this is, because I'm a devout Catholic. I go to church constantly, but I will never try to force upon you beliefs because that's just wrong.
Right.
And so...
But you're also not homophobic or anything like that.
No, and it's like to me that's like, wait a minute, you're a public figure, and you're in 2 multi-billion-dollar franchises.
Right.
You have to have a license and a mantle of responsibility.
Yeah.
And be very well versed in a myriad of topics.
Yeah.
Because there are children out there that look up to you.
You're action figures in many different lines.
You're fucking Star-Lord.
Right.
So now little
kids... And you're, whatever his name is in Jurassic Park.
Like the dinosaur guy.
Yeah.
So you should have the responsibility of taking your celebrity serious and not saying anything that's damaging to anybody.
All right, let me pose a case study at you, because this is somebody that I feel... got so much shit and didn't deserve it. No. Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin, whether you like her or not, she did a bit, which, by the way, wasn't even her deal. She was at a photo shoot. She didn't bring her own prop head of Trump. Someone had it there.
Imagine she did, though. She was making it. She was up all night.
Even if she did, she held it up, blah, blah, blah. It became a big deal. She got fired. People were giving her death threats. They put her on the fucking... Just to fuck with her, they put her on the watch list like she's a fucking terrorist.
Yeah.
And all the people that used to be with her turned against her, like Anderson Cooper, who she used to do the New Year's Eve show with, basically. And she became depressed. She talked shit about it publicly. Like, she was, this is cancel culture. She was legit canceled. Like, you're done. Even all these comedians. And I'm not the first person to say this, but a lot of comedians jerk off at the altar of Lenny Bruce.
Yeah.
But if anything, isn't she the fucking Lenny Bruce of right now? Who has said more inflammatory shit and gotten in trouble for it than her? But I didn't see anybody back her up. I didn't see any comedian back her up.
Let's also, to even reference Lenny Bruce real quick. At the time, nobody was defending Lenny Bruce either. He literally died on his sword.
Right.
Years, decades later.
Later comedians were like, he was the best.
Fucking amazing.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like when you go, you had the chance to...
And you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me answer it like this.
Yeah.
And let's strip away Donald Trump.
Sure.
Let's not even bring him up.
Yeah.
In this country, we look at our political figures and we want to, wow.
Yeah.
We voted them in, and this is our person. So it's kind of jarring to, let's say, see the head.
Absolutely.
A severed head.
Absolutely.
Of a public figure.
I don't deny that.
Being held.
And he does have a young kid who's just a kid, Barron, and he said that the kid saw it and got scared or whatever.
Again, let's just strip away that for a moment and just talk about the initial act, not the person. Because I think a shitstorm comes with that guy.
Sure.
For better or for worse, there's a ton of just negative
But I'm
press
saying
that's associated
I understand
with Trump.
people being... whether or not I dislike Trump, I understand
Same.
people being offended by that.
And it's our right, and our constitutional right, that dates back all the way to when fucking men were wearing those little weird wigs, signing things on crinkly paper.
I would actually say, and I was talking about this today in class, that we can bring this value all the way back to the Zenger trial when John Peter Zenger was arrested for seditious libel because in his colonial paper he criticized one of his writers criticized a British governor, and they thought if we arrest this guy, then we'll get them to stop printing these newspapers revolution won't happen.
The revolution happened.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because we have in this country, one of the great things about America, okay, you could say a lot about America, but one of the things that's great about it is you can say a lot about it.
Yeah.
Right? You turn on TV tonight, you'll see people making fun of Trump, and they're not going to be arrested. They're not going to be put in jail.
But look at it now, though. First off, let's take a quick pause because if we want to Google what Mike just said, we'll give you a 5, 4, 3, 2. But now, think about it this way. Major corporations own the fourth estate.
Sure.
Like when you have Sinclair Media buying every single news property imaginable across this fine country.
Right.
There's a problem.
Right.
And then look at the way we see CNN, MSNBC, Fox News.
Yeah.
Look at how they control the media. So if you're backed by big business and big bucks, you are free to say whatever you want because you're under the political umbrella of freedom of speech.
Right.
But if you're a small, little mom and pop organization, you will be chastised.
But if you say some free speech that people don't like, you could still be canceled. Now from both sides, right? If I made a homophobic joke now, right? It would be my brother and sister liberals who would cancel me.
Yes, they would.
And I wouldn't say something like that, but it's almost like you have to be unimpeachable. You have to be perfect.
And that's difficult to do.
How is that possible?
Because there's a lot of self-censoring.
Sure.
That's going on. So you have to be mindful of everything that you're going to say before you say it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's hard, especially these young kids who are on Twitter now. They're 16, 17. What do they know about anything?
Well, they're wild. They're wild. and they're wild in their thought. They're wild in their execution.
Yeah.
They're wild in how they consume their media.
Yeah.
I mean, you teach college kids, literally freshmen that are coming into high school. I'm teaching 14 to 18-year-olds.
These kids have had Facebook since they were 2.
So to them, this is the type of speech that they're used to.
Right. But I always say to my students, what if you want to run for president in 20 years? And they go back and they look at a tweet you made today that was stupid. But let's go back to Kathy Griffin. Okay. Do you think what she got was right, wrong? Was it too much?
Do I think it's too much that she can't make a living? Yes. Did I think she should have had the brains to realize, wait a minute, no matter what, my stance on a person should not impede the fact that this is still the president of the United States and people hold the president up there like royalty. So let me not do this just to be shocking, just to be jarring, just to make... It's all clickbait. Let's be honest.
Well, sure, absolutely. I mean, absolutely, she was trying to be provocative, and
Trevor
she
Noah,
knew that
Stephen
she would piss people
Colbert,
off.
it's all clickbait. Everything that they say.
Right, exactly. But should there be a line that you cross where it's like you don't make a living anymore? You're done. You're gone.
Well, the true enemy of creativity is good taste. And your taste differ from mine. My taste differ from yours. Well, we're similar in taste, but
I don't know if my taste even likes her, what Kathy Griffin did. But I like the fact that this woman has PTSD now because she went from one day being, you know, a D-rated celebrity to most hated person in the world.
But again, well, look what's also controlling the narrative of that arc as well.
What?
You're looking at it from, you're getting right-wing hate speech. So the right wing will definitely come at her.
Right, and I'm sure she knew that.
And I would like to think that also that she probably got some lefts throwing some shit at her too.
I'm sure she did. Everybody turned against her. Literally all her allies turned against her. She became persona non grata.
Persona non grata, yeah.
Overnight.
But can you sit back and feel sorry for her? Or should you have more common sense to realize, wait a minute, this is a hot button topic.
Sure, she should have more common sense.
Right now is the guy. This is all that the media focuses on.
Right.
Let me fucking do a quick pivot. Let me do Neo in the fucking Matrix and do that weird backbend thing and like as the bullets are flying past me.
But all right, I agree, but that boat passed. She did it. So because she
didn't
make this... Yes.
So
I think she has. I don't know. I think she has.
Now it's time. Let's move on.
Well, I think we're beginning slowly to move on.
Bring her back in. Let her do something with Andy Dick. Give her a Netflix special. And let's just keep it moving. I don't think the needle, Kathy Griffin's going to move the needle in any... She never moved the needle anyway. It was just a matter of... It was the perfect shitstorm at the right time with media. And then also we have a real vocal president of the United States who lives on his Twitter like a 13-year-old girl. The next election's going to be dictated with memes. That's how the next person's going to win their election.
Yeah. And it gave the right an opportunity to high road the left, which they rarely have.
Yeah.
They rarely have that right.
But again, I think there's levels to this shit, and I think the level of the crime is how a person will look past.
But what does it say about me that I'm fine listening to her still, but not Louis C.K.?
Because in terms of art, she did it...
Because I think Louis C.K. is a better comedian.
But listen. In the College of Public Opinion, her art, what she did...
Yeah. Still art.
It was still art, but it was for public consumption.
He harassed and assaulted people.
Assaulted people, and then did other things that people are coming out about saying that he did.
Yeah.
And that was behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bit that he was doing where... Yeah. He would be like, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to film this, and we're going to do this reaction that I'm going to put on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he did that, it would be like, wow, he's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
To really get this, like, uncomfortable humor from unsuspecting person.
Right.
But he wasn't doing that.
No. He was doing something real in his personal life. Yeah, that's true.
Kathy Griffin holding the severed model head of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's out there. That was something that she thought, okay, I'm going to do this publicly.
Yeah.
Privately, no.
Yeah.
If she did that privately, who gives a shit?
Right.
Like, but then there's also been celebrities getting arrested for protesting. So does that change your view on a person?
It depends on what they're protesting.
Exactly.
To me.
Yeah. Is everybody going to be like Jason Momoa? No.
This gets back to the essential question, which is, can you separate art from artist?
It depends on the crime.
I also think it depends on the artist, because someone like, let's say, Woody Allen, he is so much in his work. He plays the characters. He writes them like himself. There are definitely creepy jokes in his stuff. You see him through his work. Whereas, but
again, sometimes the person being a character isn't really the character.
No, I'm sure, but I'm
like
saying...
Tim Allen on Last Man Standing. I don't know who he is.
Right.
Who is that character?
But what I'm saying is some artists...
Tim Allen.
Like, if there was a guy who was a fucking sculptor, right? Yeah. And I found out that he was homophobic, but he made beautiful sculptures of angels, I might still go, those are pretty sculptures. I'm fine with it. Or like Wagner. Perfect example. Wagner, right?
Yes.
He's a great classical musician, but I know Hitler loved him, and a lot of people feel like Wagner's very tied into the Holocaust. But that's some of the best music ever. I think that you can still listen to Wagner because you can't hear anti-Semitism in it, whereas Louis C.K.'s making jokes about jerking off. It's there, if that makes sense. If you see the artist in the art, sometimes the artist is too much in the art. Or like someone like Chris Pratt, right? He's playing a character that, he's just coming and playing a character. Whether he says something stupid or not, I could watch that movie.
But again, you have to have a responsibility to your celebrity. And you have to know what's going on. If you're not playing for the fucking team, I don't even want you on my side.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of being a fucking good human. That's what it comes down to. Like, I love Charles Bukowski as a writer,
but I'm so glad you brought him up.
Fucking misogynist
and abuser.
And a huge abuser.
Women he dated and married.
Piece of shit. But am I gonna read Notes of a Dirty Old Man and be completely enthralled with how California was in the late 50s and 60s? Absolutely.
Some people would say you shouldn't. This is going very far, but the comedian Hannah Gatsby brought something up on her now famous comedy special where she was talking about how fucking Picasso hooked up with really, really young girls.
I told you guys years ago Picasso was a piece of shit. You didn't want to listen.
But that's Picasso.
The blue period.
Cubism.
Is
Hannah Gatsby right that we just fucking say fuck Picasso, or do we let it be, but we give it an asterisk? Is it an asterisk where you go, okay, also know this? Because I've been going through a Disney phase. Disney refuses to...
phase, we're calling it?
Disney refuses to...
It's a fucking lifestyle.
Listen, it looks good on me. Disney refuses to release Song of the South.
Yeah.
Okay, which is where the Oscar-winning song Zippity Doo Dah comes from. Because it's got Uncle Remus and it's got a lot of racist shit. But why not? I say, why not put it out? Don't make a kiddie cover. Make a sort of grown-up cover. Have it begin with a warning that says this was made in the past. We as Disney are sorry about it, but it still exists, so we're letting you have it.
The same thing can be said about old Looney Tunes.
They don't let that shit out.
The same thing with old Looney Tune cartoons and the Little Rascals.
They don't let that shit out anymore.
They don't let it out because it's offensive. It was comedy.
I feel like you should let that out with an asterisk.
Maybe there should be, but then also let's be real though. A lot of people would be up in arms about that shit.
Sure.
A lot of people would be up in arms about that, even with the... Listen,
all right, but what about the...
but look at it this way. One of the most greatest fucking books ever written.
Yeah.
Lolita.
Yeah.
Highlights.
Yeah.
A man lusting over a child.
Right.
They still air the movie.
Right.
The book is still in production.
Yeah.
Why is Lolita get the pass?
Yeah.
But something else wouldn't.
No, you're right. It's
like, how does that have a creative license for art, but then something else that's equally offensive, maybe even in the same realm, that we shun and look down on?
Well, we've accomplished nothing in this episode, and we've come to no answers. But we thought about big thoughts,
and we maybe have opened up your minds.
Hey,
to think about, wow, they don't really know shit, or you know what? They're all right, these two.
Hey, if Pop Culture Man Children has ever offended you, let me know, and I'm sorry, and I'll be a better person tomorrow.
Mike will take a picture and hold the severed head of Chris Pratt.
All right, everybody. This is we gave you a lot to chew on. Okay, do you want to make a duty joke before we go? Lighten the mood up. How's your stool?
I've been drinking liquid sunshine.
Yeah, that's it looks very green.
It is very green.
What's in that?
Parsley,
kale, sage, rosemary.
No,
okay.
Parsley, kale, spinach.
You speaking my language.
Cucumber. One green apple.
What
ginger,
a rebel.
And a little sprinkle of pineapple.
Wow, look at you. Giving yourself a little tree, a little pineapple.
You got to do it.
Did you feel good about that pineapple?
I wash my insides better than I wash my ass.
And on that note, thanks for listening to Pop Culture Man Children. This is PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm with Mr. Emilio Sparks, the banana in the tailpipe of pop culture.
Yeah.
You can listen to us everywhere. We even I forget the names of things, but I got
Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play.
No, but like there's
Apple
more
Podcast.
shit. I got us hooked up on more shit now. So there's so literally anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can listen to us.
Wow.
All right. If you've got an old TV station, we're on the Dumont Network.
Wow.
All right, everybody. Goodbye. Go bye-bye.